Fusion Mobile, quality e-learning experience on the go.
The next discourse will be on the reasons for political instability in Nigeria after independence. We could see that since independence up to date, we have seen political instability, which is failure of government. And somebody will ask, why has it been so? Since these people have been given the liberty to be on their own, there are still some political problems in Nigeria. That is the question for the discourse of this time. And by looking into the reasons for political instability in Nigeria after independence, we will look into the following points. Number one, economic mismanagement. Politicians embarked on prestigious and economically unviable projects which did not benefit the citizens. Number two, embezzlement and mismanagement of public funds has been one of the reasons why Nigeria, even up till now, has been politically unstable. Number three, election rigging and persecution of public opponents remain the order of the day. Number four, there is complete disregard for the Constitution and the rule of law. Number five, tribalism and nepotism, particularly in the appointment of public officers and in the distribution of amenities, has been one of the reasons why Nigeria has remained politically unstable since after independence. Number six, there was always disagreement over the revenue allocation formula and control of resources among the ethnic groups. It will interest you to know that Nigeria has invented several formulas for sharing its revenue, and this has been done in a bid to ensure that no ethnic group is marginalized. But up to date, there has never been any formula which has been accepted, as some persons have said that because raw materials are gotten from their home, that they should get more share. Others are here agitating, and even up to date, there is no accepted formula to sharing Nigeria's revenue. This has been a problem, and this has caused political instability in Nigeria even after independence. Number seven, the interference of the military in politics has also contributed to political instability of Nigeria after independence. Remember that when the military comes into power, they will first of all suspend the constitution. After that, they will now remove every democratic structure in that leadership so as to be able to bring in their own military style of leadership. And this has been a problem. If we trace back, we can see the history of the military in Nigeria, how they have interfered in power, starting from the first military coup that took place on January 15, 1966, which was led by Kaduna Nzogwo, which brought General Agi Ironsi into office as the first military head of state of Nigeria. And after then, we saw the counter coup that came from Gowon, Murtala Mohammed, Obasanjo, even our brother Babangida. So all these things have brought political instability in Nigeria since after our independence. So these are some of the reasons for political instability in Nigeria after independence. Having looked at this, we will now look into the Republican Constitution of 1963. This constitution came up as a result of the meeting of the Prime Minister and regional premiers in May 1963 to discuss and settle issues on the constitutions. So the Conference of Heads of Government of Nigeria agreed to summon an all-party constitutional conference in Lagos to suggest to it important changes in the constitutions. The all-party conference met in July 1963 and agreed that Nigeria should become a republic and that the president of the republic should have the same powers and functions as the Governor General had under the Independence Constitution. What are the features of this constitution? Number one, it changed Nigeria to a republican form of government, which was backed up with a new constitution. It retained the parliamentary system of government. Number three, the president as the ceremonial head of state replaced the Governor General of 1960. The Queen was no longer the head of state. Number four, the president of Nigeria was to be elected indirectly through the secret ballot for a period of 5 years by the Senate and House of Representatives sitting together. Number five, it made the office of the president to be that of a ceremonial, since he was a ceremonial head and had no real government powers. Number six, the head of the government was the Prime Minister. Number seven, the National Parliament was made up of 44 members of the Senate and 312 members of the House of Representatives. So these are the main features of the first Republican Constitution of 1963. We will now look into the second Republican Constitution of 1979. Remember that the first was before the first military coup in Nigeria. It was before the military intervened in politics. And then this second one now is in between the leadership of the military and the civilian government, which was led by Shehu Shagari. The second Republican Constitution of 1979. The military government of Lieutenant General Olusegun Obasanjo established a constitution drafting committee in September 1975. The committee began work in October the same year. The body consisted of 49 members, with Chief Rotimi Williams as chairman. In September 1976, the Constitution Drafting Committee published a 2-volume report on the new constitution. Later in 1976, a Constituent Assembly was established with 190 members, elected indirectly by local government units, which formed the Electoral College. The Assembly began its work on the reports submitted by the Constitution Drafting Committee in December 1976 under the chairmanship of Sir Justice Udo Udoma. The work was completed in June 1978. However, some amendments were made by the government on the constitution that was promulgated. The main features of the Second Republic Constitution of 1979. Number one, it adopted an executive presidential system. That is, the president is both head of state and head of government, whose powers and functions were specified in the constitution. The president also would stay in office for 4 years and could only stay for 2 terms of 8 years. This same president could also be removed from office in case of insanity or through impeachment, if found violating the provisions of the Constitution. Number 2, the Vice President's office was also created. The President had the power to nominate his second in command, the Vice President, from the same party with the President. Number 3, it also established a bicameral legislature, that is to say, a lawmaking body of 2 chambers. House of Senate was made up of 95 members, and then the House of Representatives was made up of 450 members. These houses are jointly called the National Assembly. Number 4, the chief executive of each state is the governor, and the duration of the first term of office is 4 years, who could also be elected for a second term. He is also assisted in office by a deputy governor. The governor could also be impeached or removed from office if found guilty of violating the provision of the Constitution. Number 5, Constitution also provided for power separation. The legislature and executives were completely separated in both functions and personnel. Number 6, the appointments of qualified personnel into any federal establishment or agency or as a minister of the government was to be done to reflect the federal character. In other words, appointments should not be segmented but to spread across the entire country. Number 7, it made provision for a democratically elected local government councils. It also listed the functions of the councils in the residual list. These are some of the features or the characteristics of the Second Republic Constitution of 1979.